Hello and welcome, Disney Infiniteers. This is James from iHeartInfinity.com, and today we are taking a look at the new Black Panther figure for Disney Infinity 3.0 just released to coincide with Marvel Battlegrounds. So let's just go ahead and jump right into the character background. Now, Black Panther is also known as King T'Challa, who is the monarch of the fictional African nation Wakanda, which you may remember referenced in Age of Ultron, and of course will be referenced again in the upcoming Civil War movie. Now, even though Wakanda is a small nation, it is actually generally considered to be the most advanced nation in the Marvel Universe, thanks in large part to the economy of the nation, which was bolstered by the discovery of vibranium metal, which is what Captain America's shield is made out of. Now, because of this technology, his armor is actually pretty much on par with the Iron Man suit, although they tend to downplay it since Iron Man is the more popular hero. And also on top of that, he has super strength, agility, and speed, as well as a couple other abilities thanks to an herb that he had to ingest as part of his rite of passage as king. So there's a bit of a mix of Captain America in there too. And although the comics tend to focus on superheroics, he's actually more of a monarch than a superhero, so you don't actually see him in fights too much, but he can certainly hold his own, as you're seeing in this video right now. I really could go on about this character. He's one of my favorite characters in the Marvel Universe. But I won't, and instead I'll direct you to the book by Christopher Priest from the late 90s, early 2000s. It's a dense read, but it's worth it. It is a great book. And now we'll go ahead and move on. And compatibility is up next. Black Panther is a Disney Infinity 3.0 character, which means he only works in 3.0. You can't use him in 1.0 or 2.0. That said, you can use him in the newly released Marvel Battlegrounds playset for 3.0, as well as the toy box, which includes Takeover and Speedway. Now, he doesn't have any toy boxes specifically dedicated to him yet, but I expect that will change as the hype for Civil War starts to build up. And so let's go ahead and just talk about the gameplay. Now, Panther is a fast, agile character. He is a close-range fighter. He is designed to get in close, do a lot of damage, and then jump away pretty quickly. And as such, you know, if that's your style, if you really enjoyed using the Jedi and the Star Wars playset or characters like that, Black Panther is going to be for you. He is a very familiar character if you're used to the Star Wars controls. In a lot of ways, he plays like Yoda. I'll kind of come back to that in a second. But what's interesting is that even though he is a melee character and he is definitely a singular type of playstyle, he has a lot of choices in his skill tree. And this is one of the few characters where I actually had to make some tough choices about how I wanted to do his build. For most characters, by the time I hit level 20, I've hit pretty much all the skills I want for him, and at that point it's just kind of picking out a few extras. But for Panther, even though I'm not 20 yet, I already know that I'm not going to be able to get every single skill that I want, which is actually kind of interesting because you've got to decide which direction do you want to take him. Do we want to make him focused on his special attack? Do we want to focus him on his combos with his cool finishing move? Or do you want to maybe work on having him get all of his utility skills like double jump, wall crawl, and super strength? Because you're going to have to invest a lot of points in any one of these trees to kind of maximize it out. And the route I ultimately went was to get his utility abilities because they're useful for platforming. So he's got his double super jump, his wall crawling, and his super strength. But then I also put the remaining points into his special move because his special move is extremely powerful. It's extremely useful. And this is where the Yoda comparison comes in, because if you build it up, you can have a ton of charges for his special attack, and it can do a lot of very quick burst damage to either a group of enemies or bosses, or both if the boss happens to be stupid enough to be sitting in a group of enemies. So even though I don't have it fully leveled up, I've only got 5 charges, let's go ahead and see that. And this is his special move in action, where he's just jumping between characters, hitting them really fast. You can tap the button multiple times to just have him jump between characters the way Yoda does. Does a lot of damage each time. If you're focused on a boss, they'll go down pretty darn fast. Right now I have it maxed out so I can have 8 charges, but there is one more skill that I haven't gotten. I think that'll jump it up to 12. So you could conceivably defeat a lot of enemies in a very short amount of time using his special attack. And of course, the other tree you could put stuff into is his combo attacks, and I highly recommend it if you want to go that route, because he has a super easy to pull off combo where he just dashes forward, quick attack, and you can immediately pull off the finisher, which itself is pretty strong. In its basic form at its first level, it's not very strong. You're not really going to do too much damage, but you can build it up a couple times so that it recharges faster and you can do more damage with it. To be completely honest, no matter what choices you make, I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this character. I highly recommend picking him up if you're even slightly interested in him. And I think after Civil War comes out, there's going to be a lot of interest in him. So let's take a look at the skill trees here. You can see this is his basic skill tree. You got the super strength, wall crawling over on the right, super jump on the left. I haven't even fully unlocked super jump yet. He's got some regenerative abilities, which is really nice. And you can see, normally I don't put a lot of points into this tree, but I ended up putting a lot here. Now this is his special move. Again, jumping quickly between enemies. Nothing too unexpected here. It's all just, you know, powering it up. And I'm going to put a few more points into that later. This is his melee. I obviously haven't put too much into it, just enough to unlock his combo. And that's probably all I'm really going to put into it, because I need those points for other trees. But there's certainly options here. And this is his dash attack. You can see this is also where he gets his magnetic push attack, which is like force push if you're used to the Star Wars characters. There's his finisher move. I'll need to get the top tier for that. And then powering up the actual dash itself. I'm probably not going to continue into this part of the tree. But you can see there's lots of options. And ultimately you'll end up with super jump, maximum strength, tech specialist, and wall crawl. And wall crawl, super jump, and super strength are all optional. You may want to forego one of them depending on your playstyle. That's entirely up to you. And I ultimately decided to get all three, but you can see that they're pretty useful. The super jump is high enough that you can actually get up onto the top of this rock face, which not all of the super jumpers can do. It's not as high as Judy Hopps or Ant-Man, but it's still a good jump. And so, bottom line, this is an awesome figure. I love this figure. I can't recommend it enough. And I hope you guys love it too. We'll see you next time.